real talk means we basically got shut down during COVID, all right? And also before the COVID shutdown, you guys were locked in your rooms. Let's be real. You guys were in fucking prison, okay? But for good purposes. We didn't want you guys to get COVID, right? We didn't want you guys and other guests to get you guys injured on the show. There were so many reasons why you guys were in this luxury prison at Sahara Hotel, as I like to call it.
I think I can safely say that all of us walked out of this experience with a good amount of PTSD just from being locked in our rooms, you know? I think I speak for myself, but like I think the first 2.5 weeks when we were like locked in solitary, I didn't have a clock in my room. So I didn't even know what time of day it was.
For like the 2 weeks, I didn't have like an alarm clock. So I was just waking up like on my own. So I was like waking up 2 hours before and I was scared to like fall asleep and miss the time. So I would just stay up and I was just like wasting so much time just like being up.
You didn't have an alarm clock in your room?
No.
Did we all? No.
No, I was struggling hard.
It took him a while to come like get me a new one. Mine wasn't working.
That's so crazy because you just think of like the bare, like necessary items, like the time.
The thing that kind of like shocked us all, like, was when they actually came and took all of our devices away. You know what I'm saying? Like, we live in a time where everybody's phone is in their hand all the time, your iPad, your laptop, all that good stuff. So when they came and they took everything away and you had to kind of like, what am I gonna do next? Like, you can only do so many push-ups, so many sit-ups, talk to yourself. But we played a really good game of phone tag with each other on the hotel phones, which only lasted, it was like literally like a jail call because they only lasted for 10 minutes and then it will hang up. So I remember I'd be calling Nate, I'd be calling Johnny, Ricky, and we'd be on the phone and then we'd be talking, it'd be a good ass convo and then click and then we'll call each other back and be like, yeah, so what I was saying? And it got to a point where we just started continuing the conversation. We'll just call back and then keep going.
Yeah. Honestly, thank God that we had that. If we didn't have just those phones, like to be able to get us through like some of those things, those hours would have been so fucking long.
How many days were we in quarantine for?
14.
I think
it was 3.25 weeks.
Really?
3.5 weeks we were in quarantine.
But that's why I felt like kind of nostalgic. Without the phones and technology, I felt like having phone conversations on the phone and then or in the room, and then being able to just be present. Like, obviously it's Vegas, so there aren't any clocks around, but it allowed you to really be engaged in whatever you were doing. And I think that's why we've built a special bond, because it's been years since I've encountered people where we bond on like a really deep, like, spiritual level, if that makes any sense, like we have because of technology since like middle school, when technology wasn't like it was now, if that makes any sense. So I think that's probably why. And then after quarantine, I think everyone was going through a lot, and so to meet a cool group of guys, you know, I feel like it's a blessing. Like Ross always says it, he's like, I love you guys, and like I feel like Ross, like I really do love you guys. I'm sorry, I'm always mushy anytime I'm not gonna get on the mic anymore.
No, it's good. I mean,
so mushy.
I'll be real. Like, well, I mean, one of the reasons why I signed up for the show, or I mean, the reason that we all did was for growth. Like, we're all looking for something like to bring back our magic to spark. I mean, put whatever spin you want on it, but the reason we did it was because we wanted to elevate ourselves. And one of the reasons why I signed up for the show is because I knew that we were going to be in isolation. We were just given certain expectations going into it, and then we found out later on into it that like everything that we were told we were going to be going through was different. And like, it was definitely a struggle for me to just be like, I felt like I couldn't trust the people that were like keeping us there to like, cause I remember one time I think it was like after 14 days of being in our rooms, literally no phone, nothing for 14 days. They promised me I could go outside on a hike. Like they told me like a week beforehand. And I've been looking forward to that hike all week because I picked out the spot and like I was so excited and like, yeah, we're gonna get a bus for you, and then it never happened. And I was just like, it was just like letdown after letdown. But like I did get to do my songwriting, I got to read some books, like it was really cathartic getting to be on that experience with all of you guys. And I mean, sharing notes on how we were getting through that time was really interesting. And I know that they needed it to look glamorous for TV and catchy, but the real shit is not captured on camera, and it's the experiences that we had with each other. Like the growth that I've experienced from every single one of you guys that I was on the show with was so real, and it doesn't matter if it was on the show or not. Like it's real, like it happened. I lived it, and I'm never gonna forget it. Yeah.
Can I chime in?
Yeah, buddy.
It's easy to like complain about like being like looking back on it. Like I was like grateful and very, very thankful to even be relevant enough to stay on air. Like they didn't have to keep the show running. They didn't have to keep us like we were locked in, but like we still made a damn show. When everything else in Hollywood was getting shut down, the biggest projects ever, here we were on a show about stripping, the most nonsensical thing probably, and it was still greenlit. Like we were, it was shitty. It was like jail, but like again, we had a roof and we had a place to stay. We had phones to talk to each other because we really didn't get to talk that much on camera. So I valued that time. I had like every night redialing the same phone numbers, just trying to get 10-minute talks in with everyone. So it's easy to like get caught up in like, it made me like step back and realize that I too, even as a person of color, have privilege. And like we were probably in like the most privileged space possible making a reality television show. So now, yeah, I just wanted to give like a shout out to like the Sahara for like, first of all, hosting the show and like kind of keeping us all together and just like forcing us in a way. Being locked down was the best thing to happen to us because otherwise I would have been with a group of random ass dudes that I never talked to because on camera we were just dancing straight for 8 hours and not speaking at all. So like I'm grateful for this lockdown, low key, and I'll say it, I'm proud.
That's awesome because you do think about that. And I think in life in general, we sometimes forget how blessed we really are. Like you said, it's easy to complain and then you just have that moment like, dude, that sucked, but I wouldn't have had it any other way. Like, I mean, I remember Niko coming home and he's like, man, we had to take away their phones today. And as, you know, the spouse of someone in the production industry, it's hard because you don't get to talk to your spouse or your loved ones very often. So when he told me he took your guys' phones away, I was like, I felt for your girls, whoever had girls or your moms or the people that you talk to every day because you go from talking to them every day to not. And then as a female, I'd be like, who the fuck is this guy with? But really it was like all you guys, but I didn't know that because I wasn't there. And I think that's sometimes what people forget. It's what you see on TV, it looks great. But the things that you guys have to do for it, they're fucking hard. You know, you guys went back-to-back hours. I mean, learning all these dances. I mean, as I was watching the show, I was like, fuck, they had to do all of that? Like, I props to you guys. You all did such a good job. And I just love the fact that when I met you guys, you guys had such a great bond. And when you watch the show, it's not your typical reality show. It really, you just want everyone to be the next Magic Mike. Like, I would just, every time there was an elimination, like my heart would just drop because you guys all did such a good job.
Hey, yeah, I got one lawyer, got one in that day, the only two, man. How many times have I told you the truth, man? How many nights I've been woke?
We always like to talk about mental health. So I know Ross got into it a little bit, but how did you guys cope with that? You know, how did you either talk yourself out of the ledge or maybe help someone else on the show that you saw was struggling? Like, how did you guys get through the mental health of it?
What was good for me was just being able to talk to all these guys, you know? And like just how we all were put in this really bad situation and we can just kind of like vent to each other what's going on, you know? So I would say like, I wasn't going through it too much because I don't really mind staying inside. But it was nice to like pick Adonis up if he was down or like Kevin, you know, just like making the small little connections like that was like really helping me with my like growth on the show, I would say.
And I also know, like, whenever you have a group of people going through something like traumatic together, and you know that we're all going through it at the same time, it kind of gives you that kind of like up and up with like, hey, you know what? I'm not alone. Ricky's right here. Kevin's right here. You know what I'm saying? Adonis, everybody is right there going through it with me. So just being able to have that outlet to speak to somebody and be like, hey, bro, like, damn, did you get your food today? I think Merlin didn't get fed for like 2 days. Yeah. Like, and that's like,
not in a row, but they forgot to feed me 3 times. Yeah.
Honestly, like the great part of, I mean, there's always good with bad. You feel what I'm saying? Like, so the fact that we literally all came together, did not know each other. That's the thing that was like mind blowing to me was there was a day that I didn't know any of these guys. We were strangers. We could have walked past each other on the street, you know, been in proximity with each other and never spoke. And then we all get put into this one thing together. And then our bonds are just so fucking strong. It's crazy. Like, so I don't even know the way people are going to like receive it on the show because I don't even think they deep dived into how much of a brotherhood we were. You know what I'm saying? Like in some lights, it wasn't even a competition. You know, it was just like, yo, these people are fire. Like we got to learn. Like I had shitty moments. People had shitty moments, but I had people that supported me that kind of like made me feel better. Like I was moments I was in my room, I was busting tears, like dead ass crying because I just felt like, you know, I didn't belong, or I felt like I was going to lose, or I felt like I couldn't catch the steps. And lo and behold, Nate would shoot me a ring. Ricky would shoot me a ring. Kev would, like, you know what I'm saying? Kev would shoot me a ring. Like, people would just call you and just check on you and make sure that you're good. And it was real. It wasn't, there was no cameras. It was nothing that was saying like, oh, I have to do this to come off this way. No, it was dead ass, somebody that really fucked with you heavily and really held you down. And that shit meant more than anything in the world.
It's interesting that you bring up that portrayal, because it is true. When I watched it, it didn't seem that you guys were as close as you guys really are. Because, I mean, you just see the love, the support, and like you said, everyone was fire, and you guys told each other, like, hey, you did so good, or, you know, that was lit, or whatever. But I just love that. I know, Johnny, you were going to say something, sir.
No, it's cool. I was just saying, shout out to the editors, because I know we can agree when I say we had so many cringy moments, and I'm just so glad and fortunate that they didn't show those things. So shout out to the editor.
So I actually went to school for mental health. That was my degree, and I was fortunate enough to grow up in a time where, you know, we didn't have technology. I didn't have email address until I went to college. You know, so like to not have technology, to not have my phone, it's like, I just read a book, you know, I brought a bunch of books. So I read and I journaled, and that's what kept me from losing my shit. I also brought like a suspension trainer, brought a TRX. So I'm like, I'm doing TRX in the room, I'm reading, journaling.
They let you keep your journals?
They let me keep my journal.
They took away my journals and my books.
Oh yeah? Well,
yeah, they took your journals?
Yeah.
I mean,
did they give it back?
Oh yeah.
At the very end,
Why didn't
but you weren't allowed to keep a diary?
I don't get it. It's just
They told us. Like,
I go to therapy. Like, I shout out to my therapist, man. She tells it how it is, but
Yeah.
she told me journaling really helps because like you just get it off your mind.
Yeah.
So that's so crazy that they took your journals away.
I'm gonna be real with y'all fellas. You guys didn't have any significant others. You guys couldn't have any ladies in your rooms, right? All you had was Pamela, realistically. So mental health wise and up here, anybody want to talk about Pamela and that's all you guys had for the time there? And did that mentally mess you guys up?
I love that man. Pamela Anderson.
Let me get real quick.
I didn't know that was the actual full name, but that's actually pretty.
Pamela Henderson.
Yeah, it's always Pamela Henderson. Yeah.
Pamela Henderson.
All right. So y'all know her pretty good then.
No, honestly, for me, like I was kind of, I was like really exhausted at some points, so I would just like zonk out. Like I wouldn't even really think about it. There was a point in time where like we were just locked away, and I was like sick too for that whole week. I was like sick, and I couldn't even get it up. You know what I'm saying? I was like struggling.
You couldn't even get it up.
No. Usually I'm like hard in the morning. But
Morning wood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Morning wood.
That's the best time to fuck. I love fucking.
But it was like when I was sick, I wasn't even really thinking about it. So I was just chilling. I didn't really care.
But
what about that shower scene?
Yeah, the
'Cause
water
I mean,
scene.
like,
Come on,
Johnny, how did you like water dance, Johnny?
I mean, I enjoyed it. I feel like it was sexy from what I saw. I felt like it was very sexy. I think that was one of the sexiest things that they had planned for us.
Heavy, and big shout outs to our partner, because we all danced with the same partner, Kayla. Kayla was dope because she had to dance with each of us, get wet, then get dried off, then get wet again, then they dried her off again, then they wet her again. Like, literally, she is a trooper. And when I say professional, like, imagine 3 guys tagging you along like a rag doll. Like, we was slinging her in the water, picking her up, throwing her around, and she was just like, all right, let's get it, gang. Like, her vibe was on another planet. She made it so easy to dance with her because I was probably the most nervous. They didn't even show it, but like, I almost dropped her a couple of times because I do this like deadlift, and I'm not a gym guy. So, and I'm like, she's on my shoulder, and I'm like, don't fall. And she just would be in my ear. She'd be like, "You got this, boo? You got that?" Like, her energy is just so dope. So,
Hey, whoa, hey, hey, yeah. I'm making a change today. The liquor been taking the pain away. I heard you was giving your chain away. That's kinda like giving your fame away. What's wrong with you? I sit in a box where the owners do. A boss is a role that I've grown into. I love you to death, but I told you the truth. I can't just be with you and only you. Yeah, I got one Virgil, got one, and that day is the only two, man. How many times have I shown and proved, man? How many nights I've been woke, swerving the potholes, not trying to put the wheels on the road, okay? Funny how life goes. He thought he was sick, now we wiping his nose, okay? Soon as you give him your soul, you blow up.
You know those games like a Crash Bandicoot or
yes.
Donkey Kong or something like that, or even Super Mario Bros. You know that on the map of the game, there's that one little spirit guy that's hovering in the corner of the map. He was always that for me, like in the room. Like whenever it was chaotic, I would look for him and he would be in the corner of the room with a book. And if I would go to him, it's like, "Hello, Zen." You know what I mean? Like, he gave off that vibe. Like, he was just like a great commentary and energy and just positivity. So yeah, you had a dope vibe.
Thank you.
You tell long stories, but yeah. He can go for a long time now.